We're your hosts,
Aaron Bacus
and Jason Kindler.
We like to sit down with our guests to hear their journey, their challenges, and how they impact the local community.
So grab a seat, tune in, and let's get inspired by Jacksonville's everyday workforce.
Welcome to Hometown Jacks. This is going to be amazing, Stephanie. Thank you for coming to our podcast today. Stefani Grant, hair guru, social media butterfly, just amazing presence on social media, and your hair looks beautiful, by the way, of course.
Thank you. I can't be the hair lady and show up with not so good hair.
Yes, you have a big reputation to uphold. I'm wondering if you can do anything with my hair. Is there anything special, or?
You know what? We'll talk about that.
Okay. We don't want to put too much pressure on that. So I'm so excited to have you here. This is going to be a fun podcast because I always like knowing what hairdressers know, all the secrets. And you own Parlor Salon Suites, right?
Yes.
How long have you owned that?
So Parlor Salon Suites, they're like a bunch of like individual like hair salon suites. And I've had mine since, honestly, COVID kicked off 2021.
Awesome.
COVID really showed me that I could, be my own woman and, own a business. And it literally took off after that.
Oh, absolutely. You're also a celebrity. You probably don't want to admit this, but you're on TV all the time. We'll get into that.
Yes.
River City Live channel hairstylist.
Yes, News for Jax.
So you have 3 kids?
Yes.
That's awesome. Tell me their ages again.
So I have 19-year-old twins, Amari and Amarion.
Awesome.
My daughter, she goes to Florida Atlantic University in Boca.
Okay.
And my son, he runs track. Well, my daughter cheers too. She'd be mad I didn't say that.
Awesome.
But my son, he runs track at Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
And then my 15-year-old Zoe.
There you go. Well, that sounds awesome. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's get into your history a little bit. I want to talk about hair.
Okay.
And I want to talk about your TV. I mean, what a cool, unique talent set that you have. So where are you from? Born and raised Jacksonville?
So I'm a Navy kid, so all over.
Okay.
I'm originally California, then Texas and Delaware, and then my dad actually went overseas, and my mom is from Daytona.
Wow.
So we went ahead and we lived with my grandmother for a little bit while he went overseas.
Okay.
And we kind of just stayed here, and he ended up retiring.
What are some of the places you lived overseas?
Oh, see, I didn't go. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
He got to go, and we had to stay here in the States. So I wish.
And so how long you been in Jacksonville?
Gosh, I'll be 40 in October. I've been here since about 5th grade.
So you consider Jacksonville the place?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. That's really cool. So I have to ask you, I've always wanted to ask hairdressers in here. I had a barber in before. It's not the same thing. He was a friend of mine. So do you know the secrets of everybody in Jacksonville, or how does that work?
Good question.
Maybe you don't want to comment? I don't know.
No, it's funny. I feel like I'm Switzerland. I have to always remain neutral. I go neighbors and so-and-so and oh, do you know so-and-so? Oh, well, let me tell you about them. And I'm like, Interesting.
And it's almost like the attorney-client privilege, but it's the hairstylist-client privilege, same thing?
Oh, absolutely. And then COVID, that was crazy. It was, so-and-so, they don't wear their mask. And I'm like, okay, I'll remember that.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So people, And it's not sometimes when, I've had divorced couples as well.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Hey, make sure you take so-and-so's card off my, profile. I'm like, okay, you got it.
Smile and keep cutting,
Absolutely,
right? That's
absolutely.
Funny.
But
now, do you primarily cut females or?
I normally do females, and I'll do the husbands of my clients.
Okay.
But when I became a hairdresser, I really put my education into color.
Okay.
So,
awesome. And how I found about you is you cut my daughter's hair, Ashley, which obviously that's amazing.
And Ashley's getting ready to go to grad school. I've been doing Ashley's hair since she was in high school.
I know.
So that means she's aging, but we're not. Though.
We're not aging.
We're not.
We get to a certain point, it doesn't go higher.
Right. I'm like, gosh, time is just flying.
It does fly. You have kids just like I do, and it's just it's weird. So I also wanted to say, it was really cool. I was reading about that you were styled here at Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend?
Yes.
How cool is that? Tell us about that.
Okay, so that was down in Miami because, it goes to different cities. And that was actually my first time in Miami.
Okay.
And, it's already Florida humidity. And I just remember, oh my gosh, like literally getting out of our Uber and it was like literally walking in an oven.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But when like everyone in Miami is just fabulous.
Right.
I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to like recreate all of these looks. But what was very interesting though, by a lot of the wives, that was honestly like their first time seeing their husbands in like so many like months because they're always traveling. So it was really special, getting them ready. So I was doing the wives for the professional athletes.
What a cool thing. So they bring in stylists like you as kind of a benefit to, wow, what a really cool thing. That was a pretty big honor, I imagine.
It was a little nerve-wracking, but they're honestly, a lot of them, they were just happy to like be here and actually get pampered on.
For sure.
I'm thinking like professional athlete, they do this all the time, but a lot of them really don't.
Oh, wow. What a cool thing. And then also I read you did New York Fashion Week.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, amazing.
And
so is this where they walk up and down the runway all week?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was actually very interesting because I was, it's high fashion. I can't recall the designer's name, but I just remember it was with Bumble and Bumble, but we were watching the lead stylist and he was like, okay, this is what I want, done. And I want everybody to look the same. When I tell you, it was literally just a 3-strand braid and he put a ribbon on it, but it was the other people like, ooh, and I was like, oh my goodness.
So you didn't really, it wasn't that complicated is what you're saying.
No, but it was the fact that he called it this like fancy name and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was talking to my friend, I was like, that's a braid.
So
like,
you're literally the one behind the stage getting the hair ready for them to walk. Man, that had to be amazingly fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. You get to meet so many people in the industry.
I'm sure.
And it's funny, like on camera, everything just looks so well put together, but it's craziness.
Mayhem in the back, right?
It's madness.
That's fun. Well, those are really cool. So we talked about where you grew up. So tell me about how you became cutting hair. Was that something right out of the gate you thought about or what?
No, I've always liked to do hair, but I became a young mom, so I had to go ahead and start, big girl life and get a big girl job with benefits and 9 to 5. And I got a job working at the IRS.
Okay.
Oh,
the IRS.
The IRS.
Now, I would have never thought you worked at the IRS.
The IRS downtown. At the it was the Modus building then, but I think it's the Wells Fargo building now. And it was a great job until it just started to not become one. Nobody wants to talk to you. Everyone's mad at you.
Right.
And I was in the balance due department, so.
Oh boy.
And honestly, by the time the IRS starts, seizing things, you've kind of ignored some things.
Right,
so.
For sure.
But again, nobody wants to talk to you. So it was like, all right, here's my coffee, here's my little radio, here's my headset, and go. You guys did this, you did this. And it was just, 8 hours of that.
Right.
Monday through Friday, it became like very draining.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how did you take the leap to something more fun?
A commercial.
Okay.
I saw a commercial for Aveda Institute.
Okay.
And of course, it has all the glitz and glamour. And I was 29 at the time. I remember that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, can I go back to hair, can I go back to school, that whole environment? And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And it was actually around tax time and I had got a nice refund and I paid my bills ahead of time and I just went.
You jumped off the ledge and quit?
I just did, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, something just led me to it.
That took a lot of guts.
But I remember the very first day of hair school. Again, I'm 29, so I'm a bit older. And there's girls that are 18. They're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. My mom made me do something. And so it was like, I don't want to be here. And can we have a break? And I'm like, I'm actually here because I need to learn something.
Right. This is serious.
Right. I have kids to feed. I'm trying to turn this into something. So that definitely put me back in high school, and I was ready for that.
Wow, that takes a lot of man. I bet that was scary.
Mm-hmm. So being the older student.
How long is school?
So I was on a fast track, so it was about 8 months.
That's a long time.
It is.
Of 8 hours a day, 5 days a week?
It was 3 days, 8 hours a day.
Okay.
So then I did little part-time stuff. I was with my parents on the other days, be with the kids.
Wow. Wow. So 8 months, and then so you go through school. What was the hardest part about school?
Probably when you start actually being with, clients, because it looks easy when I'm in the classroom. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then they actually give you real scissors. And here's someone that wants a haircut. And I'm like, wait, do you know that I'm a student? Like, you know you're having a student cut your hair, right?
Right.
And so I was amazed at how many people actually do that.
That's what I was going to ask you about. So kind of how does that process work? Did they just say, hey, free haircuts, come here?
So they were like discounted haircuts, and it was right over there off of San Jose. It's next to Whole Foods. We would go out there, pass our card around. Hey, do you want a free haircut? And I was just surprised at how many people were like, yes, because I don't know if someone gave me like, hey, you want me to cut your hair right now? I'd be like, who are you?
Yeah,
right?
we're not gonna let you experiment.
Exactly, but a lot of people did.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you know, it was very easy. A lot of like one length cuts. I remember one lady wanted a bob, and she's like, I want it really short. I'm like, Dora the Explorer short? But she loved it.
The bob. But see, I don't know much about haircuts, but I feel like that's a long time ago. Haircut.
And that's probably why I really like learned about color. Because again, like, you know, I do the husbands of my clients, but there weren't a lot of like men that came in there. They were probably really stick to their barbers. But women, they were sure, let's do it.
Do you ever remember a time where you're like, oh, I don't know if they're going to like it, like right in the beginning?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One lady, I remember specifically, shout out to my best friend Chudney, she was my teacher. One lady specifically wanted copper hair, and that's one thing I learned about being visual. What's copper to me may not be copper to you. So copper to me was a little bit more reddish. She was thinking like really like orange, and I gave her fire engine red. She was not very happy.
Not very happy about that.
And thankfully my friend helped me out with that. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I should be a mechanic. Maybe, hairdressing is not for me.
What's this hairdressing thing? That's funny. So how do people, I'm assuming now it's pretty easy. They just bring in a picture.
Oh, yes.
Like, hey, this is what I want to look like.
Honestly, I like when people bring in pictures of themselves and I'm like, show me a time, because, ladies, we have like 1,000 pictures. And I'm like, show me a time that you like really loved your hair. And that usually helps a lot too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, people will bring in a photo and I'm like, okay, well, your hair's nothing like that. I'm a hairstylist, not a magician.
Yeah, right.
So that always helps too.
Do you ever run into like, man, I don't know if I can do that?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm honest though. I'm like, you know what? I know somebody that would actually probably be really well. And if there's like a precision cut, I'm, like I said, I'm not Edward Scissorhands. So I don't play around with that one.
Yeah, you're pretty.
We're in a review now world.
Right.
Stephanie did this. Nope.
Well, I can imagine it's pretty sensitive in your line of work for sure. So you get done with school, 8 months, and then what do you do?
Oh gosh. So then what did I do? So actually while I was in school, I found a job working at a salon in Ponte Vedra.
Okay.
And so I started with just like doing receptionist work and hair washing, getting to know people and, getting over that whole like, that barrier of they don't know me, just actually like talking to people. But I think that really helped me with like being like a Navy kid of always being like the new kid, like being able to like start conversations first and, actually putting myself out there.
Military kids are generally never shy.
Yes. Yeah, you have to, you're always the new kid, so you always have to introduce yourself. So that definitely helped. And I was there for like my whole time, because I've only worked in one salon. So whenever I was in school until when I went out on my own.
Wow. Wow. And you went on, so you graduated school, started working at salon. And how long were you there before you started your own?
8 years.
Wow. Okay.
8 years. Social media really built my salon.
Sure.
And they were very, the salon, they were like, okay, we'll start you off with 10 clients. And this is the kind of, you want a repetition business. You don't just always want new clients. You want people to come back. That's the whole thing of that, what you want to do. So they start you off with that and then it's up to you. But Instagram really blew my business up.
And your Instagram is awesome. What's your handle again?
Style by .Stephanie.
That's right. Yeah, it's amazing because there's really colorful stuff on there, really cool, just kind of pops. So I imagine that's kind of the evolution with a hairstylist. You go work for somebody, you give it time, and then you develop your clientele and you go out on your own. I mean, I'm assuming that's kind of, everybody knows that's the progression.
Well, yes, and naturally the people that, help you are supposed to be happy for you when you want to move on, not try to hold you back.
Right. We know how that works.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's great. So
IRS to the hair world.
I know. What that's awesome. So what made you want to start your own business?
Okay, so COVID happened, and the whole world just like shut down.
Yes.
And I don't know if I had a lot of like professional clients that were still going to work or still appearing, on Zoom. Remember, that's when Zoom like became really popular, and they're like, "Hey, Stephanie, can you come by?" And I'm like, "Oh, really?"
Right.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh," I'm thinking that you're getting your hair done for the whole experience of being pampered on. But a lot of people, they just need their hair done.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I'm like, you like me? It's not the salon. They're like, yeah, it's you. So I did a lot of like home appointments.
Interesting.
I was putting together a lot of like kits. I put together like a little video, and I would send people like, okay, you section your hair like this, you like this. Haircuts. Oh my gosh, I was doing those on porches. That was a lot. I remember I did like, it was a bunch of Jaguar executives. And I had a client whose husband worked for them, and they were literally one by one. It was down in Jack's Beach, and I was just cutting.
Just doing it outside.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, horrible COVID was, but it really made us all kind of reinvent ourselves a little bit.
Well, it made me like really see. I'm like, okay, so I was doing well in a salon where I was only getting a percentage, and then here I am out on my own, getting the actual 100%. And I'm saying, of course, everything there takes products. And I'm like, okay, so I'm spending this on this and this. I'm like, what am I doing? So that really, and I think COVID really popped up all those like individual suites. And some people like that. Some people, again, they just want their hair done. And that's kind of majority of my clientele. Some people want the, the bougie, pampered experience, roll out the red carpet. I do that sometimes. Ashley gets that.
Yeah, right. Of course she does. Like, how often would you say someone visits you?
Okay, it really depends. So like haircuts, if I just have a client just for haircuts, about every 12 weeks. My color girls, where we're covering gray roots. And you want to get into all of that? Yeah, gray coverage. Yeah, they're about 4 or 5 weeks, and my highlight girls are about 8 to 10.
Interesting.
And then there's the lived-in color looks. Do you know all about that?
I do not. Tell me about it.
Okay, so there's our regular highlights. So Ashley's my regular highlighted lady, where we take it all the way up to the root.
Okay.
But then now we become more kind of like a romantic kind of style. I call it very lived-in. And they kind of leave a little bit of their root. It almost looks like, Jesus himself colored it. Very like light and just very
So people
natural.
aren't scared of showing their roots now, is what it is.
No.
Right. That's part of the style.
No, and that, it's funny. That whole Coldplay thing popped, that whole thing.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, my hairdresser brain went into her hair. I was like, oh my gosh, I bet she wished she had her hair done if she knew she was going to be plastered.
I'm sure
over.
she did.
I was like, oh my gosh, you're HR rep? I'm like, somebody give her my number.
That is funny. It makes me think of like, I interviewed a football coach, and he's like, he can never watch football because he's always trying to analyze it. Like, I'm thinking like, that's your whole life. You see people's haircuts all the time.
Yes, that is what I always zone in on. I'm like, hi, how you doing? Oh, that's great. I'm like, box tie.
That is funny. Yep. That is funny. So COVID hit, you figured out you could do your own business. You started your own business. Okay. And you've been doing that since COVID, what, 4 years or so?
Yeah, 2021, yeah.
Wow. Wow. And was that a big jump off the ledge for you, or you kind of had proven the concept out already?
Yeah, I mean, it was a stressful time because the salon that I was with was not happy for me at all. And, everyone has free will. And when I left, they came with me. And that was a huge problem to them. Yeah. And they would come to where I was at and film me and make a lot of,
ruckus.
Ruckus.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Because I just, just like we said before, I just would think that would be something you would expect. That's going to happen.
Well, absolutely too. And, it's crazy because, especially you never know what could happen. And my career, of course, thankfully went up, and that could have been an opportunity for me to be like, oh my gosh, this place, gave me the stepping stones, but you should be happy for when people want to grow.
Right. Well, I mean, based on what you're telling me, you're a tough girl. I mean, you quit your job to figure out to be a hairstylist, and then you decided to go out on your own after doing that.
Well, I think being a parent gives you that bravery because
Yes.
you always want the best and you always strive. You know, you always want to give them things that you maybe necessarily didn't have.
Right.
You know? Or if anything, in my case, I had a great childhood, so I wanted to match it
Right.
with theirs.
For sure. Well, I bet your kid's hair looks pretty good.
You know what? I have my best friends do their hair. Family's the worst clients.
It is funny. Like, you know, they always say the painter can paint everybody's house but his own, you know?
Yes, family's the worst clients. They're like, everyone's always like, oh, Stephanie, you're so gentle when you're brushing my hair. I'm like, tell my daughters that. They think I'm just the roughest.
That is so funny. That's so funny. What do you think your favorite part is about owning your own salon?
I think the flexibility. I really love the flexibility of, I have an appointment here. And again, like my clients, they've been with me, you know, for a long time. So I love that. Hey, can we move this date? I can come in sometimes on Sundays. I just really love the flexibility.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
We'll get back to the story in just a second, but while you're listening, here's something you should know if you live in Northeast Florida. If you're self-employed and trying to buy a home, it's not as hard as you might think. We work with business owners, freelancers, and creatives every single day. People who don't fit the traditional housing mold, and we're here to let you know that we have real loan programs that make homeownership possible. We've helped tons of local business owners and creatives get approved using flexible loan options that work for them and their business. First Coast Mortgage Funding is proud to sponsor Hometown Jacks right here in Jacksonville.
What would you say your typical day is? Are you booked out for weeks, or kind of how do you do that? What's your typical day look like?
I see, that's one thing that they always teach you in hair school is, you know, when you're done with your client, you go ahead and set them up for your next one. I don't know why. I just sometimes feel like I don't want to like obligate people. Like, well, you know, what if they didn't like it? And I'm like, here, you come this time. But they always do on their own, thankfully, and I'm thankful for that. So I'm usually booked out like a month ahead.
Wow.
And then, but that's the whole thing. You know, social media makes entrepreneur. But there's some days where everybody will cancel. You know, there was days where the weather is bad, especially like hurricane time.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's people that aren't from Florida and they're like, Stephanie, I don't think I should leave. And I'm like, I don't know about you.
It'll be okay.
Exactly. But I'll be here. But it's, you know, it's totally up to you.
That's a really good point. Being an entrepreneur is not all super sexy all the time. There's a lot of uncertainty and change that you have to deal with that.
There's some days where you can make a whole lot of money, and then some days you're like, ooh.
Right.
You know, I spend it all on products. So again, you know, social media gives us all that glitz that, you know, everyone quit your 9 to 5, go do it. But I really think it takes a certain personality to own your own business.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
not everybody's cut out for it.
You got to deal with rejection and, you know, the ups and downs and things like that. It's they always say, it's like, you know, I'm self-employed. I work 60 hours a week, but nobody tells me I have to, so I can take off whenever I want. But I work more because of that. So
that's the thing.
Exactly it.
You really, what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, you've talked a lot about hair products. So tell me what you mean by that, and like what are some of the tools or tricks of the trade that you do?
Oh gosh, hair products. I've really stuck to like one line that I really love. Shout out to Redken. Love them. And I really love Olaplex. I use those with a lot of my clients. I do a lot of blondes. So there's a lot of like sun damage products that I like to put in there.
Do those companies, will they sponsor you?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it works in your world?
You can. But they expect like a huge volume to come back. And so I'm working my way up to them.
Right. Well, I imagine with doing the business and also your social combined with that, that's a pretty powerful
I know some hairdressers that's their business. And I'm like, wait, you know, I'm looking at their videos and they're looking all nice. I'm like, there's no way you're doing hair. Because every time I leave the salon, I'm like, dang it, I got color on this. And I could be, you know, wear a smock, but I still end up with color right here.
Right.
I always say I could never be like a server because they'd be like, ma'am, your fingernails. I'm like, they're actually clean with, you know, it's color.
Well, are you using any kind of specific tools, or do you use, I don't know, do you put their hair under a thing or anything
Well,
like
there's
that?
dryers.
Yeah.
There's dryers. I just really started using, I bought this new Dyson hair. Has Ashley asked for one of those before?
I think so. Yeah, it sounds familiar. Dyson sounds familiar on that
So
stuff.
I just recently got the little air wrap. It was $600, and I was like, oh my gosh, if it's $600, I better not have to do a thing.
Right.
And you still do. I think I'm like
A little bit of a gimmick, huh?
Absolutely.
Right.
By the time it took to do that, I could have definitely just used a regular curling iron.
Right.
I just recently did a show on River City Live where we were talking about like TikTok hacks. There's this one machine that the girlies can put their like hair into, and then they just press the button and then it creates a braid.
Wow.
But I mean, it was kind of weird. All you have to do is just do that. So I was like, okay, I guess that's the new generation.
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
we were dispelling all of those little hacks.
That's funny. Well, speaking of River City Live, I mean, what a cool thing that you do. So I want to know what it is and how you started with that. Like, that's such a cool thing. So tell us like how it got into play.
Well, River City Live is a lifestyle show on Channel 4.
When does it air?
Every day at 9:30.
Cool.
So Monday through Friday at 9:30. The hosts are Eden Kendall and Rance Adams.
Okay.
But Eden Kendall actually replaced my friend Jana Angel, and she's the reason why I got started on it. So she was actually from South Florida, and she got the job to come here. And she was researching, she typed in, because she knew she was moving to the Nocatee area, she typed in blondes, Nocatee stylist, and it was just a bunch of my pictures, social media, free.
For sure.
Bunch of my pictures, and it was attached to the salon that I was working at, but I already had left. And so she reached out to the salon and was like, hey, I'm trying to get in with Stefani. Oh, Stephanie's not here. Stephanie's on vacation. So-and-so can do your hair, but I'm actually like completely gone.
Right.
And they're like, well, so-and-so can do your hair, and she's like, well, I'll just try back. And then she actually reached out to me individually, and she was like, hey, I've been trying to get in with you. And I'm like, this is my first time talking to you. I'm like, well, come on in. And so when she actually came in, she was like, hold up. This is not where I thought I was going to be. And then so, I had to tell her, I was like, oh, yeah, I left. And she's like, oh, my gosh, they're still using your pictures. And I'm like, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. And so she hadn't told me exactly what she does. She just said that she was starting a new job.
Interesting.
And so,
And this is before you were friends, or you were friends before?
No, we were not friends.
That's really funny. Yeah.
Nope. And so she comes in, and I do her hair, and we have great conversation, like literally talking to this, long lost friend. And as I'm checking her out, she's like, so, I'm getting ready to I'm going on air. She's like, I'm a new news anchor for Jacksonville. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations. And she's like, you have such a personality. She was like, I think you should really come on. And especially to really boost my business, since the previous salon that I was at was trying, basically she's not here. She's just not working. And she's like, you can really boost yourself up. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm behind the scenes. I'd already did New York Fashion Week. I did MLB. I'm like, I get you guys ready. I'm like, are you sure about that? I'm like, what can we talk about? And so I finally, I went ahead and did it. And it was just so nerve-wracking, that first one, because
I imagine.
You have the camera, even though there's not very many people there, but there's thousands of people watching, right? And you have to smile, look, interact, and also do something. My mind was going
right.
But then it was really good.
Now, is it live when they do it?
It was live.
Wow. So what was your first segment? Do you remember?
My first segment was curling hair. I knew that was easy, but I was like, Stefani, just don't burn the girl. Just don't burn the girl. And, talking about flicking of the wrist when it comes to curling. And again, you have to still be engaged with your host and have a conversation. And I'm still trying to do her hair and then smile and then don't slouch. And, you don't want to pleasant, look on camera.
That's funny. So who was the person you did the hair? Did they just pick somebody out in the studio?
No, that was a client of mine, a friend of mine, Laura.
That's funny. That's funny. Now, do you come up with the content for the...
Okay.
Yep,
I come up with everything. I normally go on like TikTok or Instagram and see like, what are people really talking about.
Interesting.
Again, I saw my daughter, like her Shein cart was full of all these little hair doohickeys. And I'm like, well, do these things even work?
Right.
So that was a TikTok one that we did. And some of the stuff was good and some of it was like, viewers really liked that one because they're like, everything looks great on TikTok. But we actually like put it to the test to see if it actually is even worth it.
That's a good segment.
So people really love that one.
Yeah. I would imagine a lifestyle show at that time of day would be pretty interesting with hair. Like that would be a very popular subject.
And at first it came on at 11 a.m., but then they changed the show to 9:30, and that's actually really
interesting.
That's a bigger like market of people that are watching TV at that time. So it's so many times and after I have my show, I saw you. I really liked your outfit. I'm like, okay, well, the outfit was not the point. The content.
That's
was
right.
The point.
That's right. That's really awesome. So when was that? How long ago was that you did the first one?
Oh gosh, that was about 3 years ago.
Wow.
It was over the summer. I remember specifically because I brought Zoe with me. And she just thought she was just a little Miss Celebrity. It's so crazy because, when you're watching at home, it just looks so nice and put together. But it's just...
crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is... And the Fashion Week and everything, you did this before you got on TV?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yes.
So you didn't really want to do it. You were nervous to do it, but you just took the step.
I took the step because I really wanted it because, she made sense. Why not? It's a show geared towards Jax locals, and, you go there and broadcast your business. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do it.
Right.
And then, a lot of people, I always feel like sometimes when it comes to things on TV and the comment section, it's always usually sometimes negativity. But I got a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah.
And then so we did another one, and then it just became a thing.
Wow. Congratulations. Well, that fits in the trend of you just stepping outside the box.
Seriously.
Because I know that had to be nerve-wracking.
Oh, absolutely. But, you sometimes have that inner voice like, I know there's something like really great.
Yes.
Like destined for me. And you
Well,
just gotta
I mean,
do
that
it.
meant to be. Like, the way that she had to find you and all of that stuff and her being new. I mean, that's really cool. Did you see a spike in your Instagram and your business, like immediate?
Oh, yes. My when I first did River City Live, I saw immediately it was about 70-something followers and that's another thing too, when you have like giveaways, like, hey, come and like, comment, share, tag a friend. And that's a good way also to get people. And then I would just go to, the salon store and they always are gifting things for me. So I'm like gifting ones to give to the others. So
Yeah. Well, I think you have like over 7,000 followers
Yes.
or something.
Yes.
And that's not easy to do.
No.
Like we do it for our business, and getting the followers up is hard. It's hard work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I really think, like I said, every time I go on my show, hey, follow me here, tell me what you like, I'm having a giveaway. And that always, people like free stuff.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. So every 2 to 3 weeks you do a segment?
Yes.
Do you go in and record that segment, or do you do a bunch of segments at one time?
So I've done some pre-recorded ones. I just did a pre-recorded one. That was actually, you know what? I think I prefer the live, though. When you're pre-recorded, you're kind of like, wait, I don't like that.
Right.
Scratch that.
Right.
Let's
Too
do
much
that again.
analyzing.
Exactly. Exactly. And, we're just in like the cancel culture. So I'm like, oh my God, let me not say anything. I get canceled.
Right.
But that's not my personality. So it wouldn't come out.
Yeah. So how much time does it take? Like, you have an appointment at 9:40. Are you there by 8:30? Or like, walk us through it. Like, how much time does it take?
So I usually get my place ready the day before.
Okay.
So if I have a 9 o'clock, and by this time I know who comes early and who doesn't. I have some people that show up a half hour early. So I try to be there a little half hour early for them. But yeah, that's the main thing, is making sure you're prepared the day before, because you don't want to just rush. You kind of don't want people to feel like you're rushing to get them. Like, I've been waiting on you.
Right,
like,
right,
this is
exactly.
your experience for you. But some of them beat me. And I'm like, well, hello there.
There's
How you
always
doing?
early birds. I'm one of them.
You're early bird?
But yeah, so like, but like the show, like how do you're going to the show, like, is there just kind of a line of segments? It's like, okay, it's your turn. Is that how it works?
So I'm always first.
Okay.
And
That's good.
Yes. And I'm like, but I want to see other people get going, but they're watching me. And a lot of times it's people that have never been on TV before.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you've done this. So, but it's crazy. Every single time I get like that nervous pit in my stomach. But then it's always, I stumble. I don't really stumble, but I feel like I stumble at first, but then I get going.
Do you watch yourself?
Not anymore. Not anymore. It's this funny. This last I was on channel 12, First Coast News.
Yeah.
I was just on Good Morning Jacksonville.
Oh, wow.
And I had this like orange outfit, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and rewatch it. I was like, oh my gosh, I look like a pumpkin. I look like a pumpkin. I was like, this is why I don't rewatch.
Yeah. So now you're kind of migrating to different stations, and that's a cool thing. They don't care. You're more of a guest,
Yes.
So you're not under any obligation.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
Correct.
That's really awesome.
Correct.
That's really awesome.
But I always remember the home team.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Is it hard to come up with topics?
Oh yes, I feel like I've done everything. I'm got to figure out something for next month.
Well, do you feel like though that you can't kind of go back to some old topics? I mean, it's been a long time. Does anybody notice?
You know what? I probably could.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Shot.
Well, it's kind of funny that the same thing with social media. We always think, at least with me, I'm not as much of a pro as you. It's like you post something, nobody's going to remember a month later what you posted, except you.
True.
Reuse it.
True. Right. Because, this is back to school. I've already done back to school, but
We're back to school again.
We're back to school again. You're right. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad I can give
Everything
you
happens
something.
for a reason. Thank you.
I would imagine, though, have you actually done hair cutting on TV?
Yes.
I imagine that's a lot of pressure.
I cut bangs. Yeah, I had two ladies actually. The trend was like the curtain bangs, and then we wanted like the faux pas bangs, and we had to there's different face shapes. So I had two girls with different face shapes and different textures. And again, talking to the host.
Yeah.
Looking at the camera, engaging, but it all worked out.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine that's some pressure. Well, that's really cool.
And a lot of times I already have like the style halfway done, so I'm only finishing it.
Kind of like the
camera.
cooking thing. Like most of it's already done whenever they do the cooking slots.
Right. Because, 4 minutes can go by very fast.
Oh, I know. Well, we've talked about how great it is for your business. Your Instagram channel is amazing. What do you think the hardest part about being on TV is?
Ooh, good question. The hardest part probably just making sure that what I say makes sense. And I guess they always say you got to just be confident in what you're saying. And they don't know any better.
Right.
You could sell, what is it? Ice to Eskimos. Right. They don't know any better. So yeah, I remember one time I'm like, Stephanie, what are you talking about? I'm just going, but they don't know.
Right.
So that's probably just making sure that everything flows.
Right.
And also too, the hardest thing is beforehand, like, okay, I want to say this. And then when you're getting going and then, TV just happens and they could completely go off subject. And next thing you know, you didn't get your point across.
Right. Can they run something on a prompter just to remind you what you wanted to talk about if you wanted it?
So it's funny. Okay. So there was an example. It was funny with my friend Jana. I said, we're getting a teleprompter from now on because we became really good friends. And I had actually just redecorated my suite, and she was like, I'm going to tell everybody, that, everything's great. You did this and did this. And I had just recently started dating someone. And so she was like, so, to the viewer, she was like, so do you want to tell everybody your good news? And I'm like,
What good news?
I was like, are we talking about Michael? I was like, shout out to Michael. She was like, well, shout out to him. This is live. But I was actually talking about your hair thing. I wanted to die. I was like, oh my gosh.
That is funny.
I was like, so from now on.
We're planning it.
Exactly.
That is so funny. We talked about a little bit about how your typical day looks like. I saw that you went out to Denver and did tell me about that. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that was so much fun. Oh my gosh, yes. That was actually my first time really going. Again, I was like born on the West Coast, but that was my first time going back over there. And that was interesting. As soon as I stepped off that plane, like I immediately, you feel that altitude. Ooh, that was a lot. But that was really fun. I went over there again to promote my business. I had hired an agent to like help put me out.
Very cool.
To really help get me out there. And she set me up with that in Denver. And that was a whole nother like demographic of people.
Yeah.
And one thing that really, really I loved about that segment was, again, I did the whole giveaway of like and comment. And I guess the area that I was in was like kind of like older. And so it was a lot of, comments that were on my, I'm so glad that you had someone young on the show. I'm here, but I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And so they invited me back. I just have to go back. I'll be back, guys.
Oh man, that's really cool. What a neat thing. Does the hairstyle change a little bit based on kind of location, or is it more of a trend?
I feel like I'm always gearing more towards like humidity, like hairstyles here in Florida. But in Denver, they don't have that problem.
Right.
So it's just different. What I actually talked about. What did I talk about there? Things that like you buy on Instagram. Like, is it worth it or not?
That's really cool.
And that was fun too. That was actually my first time actually having a male co-host, because I'm always with the females.
Right.
So it was nice talking with the male about.
Does he know what to ask, or?
I felt like the female was like leading it,
Yes.
but he was like, "Oh wait," I was like, "Yes, you could totally do this for your wife." He's like, "Wait, so when she gets out of the shower, I can tie her turban like that." It's like, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. So, if you could cut one famous person's hair, who would it be?
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian didn't even hesitate.
Kim Kardashian.
Wow.
I love her.
What makes you choose? What makes you?
She's just style altogether.
She is style.
Just style. And looks like I don't think anything looks bad on her.
Right.
So I know anything I do will look good.
That is hilarious. You didn't even hesitate with that.
Kim Kardashian.
So what are some long-term goals that you have? What are some some long-term goals here out in the future for Stefani?
Oh, that's a good question. I was thinking, for the longest that I wanted salon. I wanted to, actually branch out and have a salon with, a bunch of chairs, a great environment. But I kind of like being responsible for myself.
Yes.
Not
like managing others.
Yes.
Yes.
Not, I feel like, managing my 3 children and what they have going on. And I can only imagine for other people. So I think I really kind of want to stick to more of the on-air broadcasting.
Very cool.
And like my ultimate goal is to be on the Good Morning America.
Oh, wow.
One day.
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, you've got all the tools for sure.
One day.
I mean, I think you've really kind of fell upon a niche, that's, I think, should be pretty popular.
I think so too.
Are you still working with that agent that
Yes.
can? Okay.
Yes. So that's just get me to New York. But, that's one thing about, our industry. There's a lot of us in it.
Right.
But
right.
I'm confident enough.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? You've been successful in every jump that you've taken. What's a hair myth that you would want to dispel? Like, what's a wives' tale kind of a myth about hairstylists?
Oh my gosh, the biggest one. Whenever I'm doing weddings, people come with dirty hair, oily hair. Just they haven't washed their hair in a couple days, and they're like, "Well, we thought your dirty hair was best." And I was like, "I don't know who told you that."
So that is the thing that people think, that dirty hair is easier to cut?
To style, like for weddings.
Interesting.
A lot of people show up. I have to constantly make sure I have dry shampoo with me. Because
Wow.
I don't know who started that.
I don't know either. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so you definitely clean hair, ladies and gentlemen.
Clean hair. I mean, geez, that seems like common sense, but that's why I asked the question. I love that. Finally, wrapping up, what would be your advice to somebody that was the young Stefani that was thinking about opening up their own studio? Like, what advice would you have for that person?
Do it. If it's meant to be, it will be. Do it. Follow that inner person. Follow that gut. What's for you will always be for you.
Interesting. I love that confidence, because that's, wrapping up your short story here of, IRS, I would never have picked IRS, by the way. That is the funniest thing, I think, of the whole interview here, that you work for the IRS. You are definitely too exciting to work for the IRS. So IRS, you said, I'm done. Do the hairstyling. You went through school, worked at a hair salon, said, I'm doing it on my own. You did that.
COVID kicked off.
You reinvented yourself again. You said, I can do this on my own. You did it. You were nervous about TV. You never thought you would do it.
Never.
You did it. And now your star is rising.
It really
rapidly.
is, rapidly. And I'm so thankful, so blessed. And again, what is for you is for you. Keep going.
Yes. Well, make sure and follow Stefani on Instagram. She's amazing hairstylist. It was so nice to meet you.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
It was
I appreciate
awesome.
that.
You have such a great personality,
Thank you.
A very positive mojo. So thank you. It was great to meet you.
Thanks.
The Hometown Jacks podcast is recorded and produced by First Coast Mortgage Funding, located in the heart of Jacksonville. Do you want to be our next guest? Visit our website at hometownjackspodcast.com. We can't wait to hear your story.